So what do we mean by identifying issues? I will give you a few examples here. Missing values, data that is not recorded or is incomplete, blanks, how to interpret, not available, zeros sometime, and then use of means, the average. Duplicate records, repeat entries for the same data, also including partial matches, John Smith versus John with an H, Smith. Inconsistent data, data entries that do not match expected format or values. You're supposed to add text, you find numbers and the opposite. Multiple addresses for person, or does destination mean the first leg in the flight or the travel trip or whole flights? So sometimes you need to identify what they mean by this data. Errors, incorrect or out of range values, typos, incorrect dates. Outliers, data point that deviate significantly from the rest and may affect analysis. For example, salary that are negative or in billions that doesn't make sense. It could be a typo as well. Outdated data, too old data that is not useful anymore. Identifying issues, what is the process? First, we have to do an initial assessment to evaluate the collected data to understand the structure, content, and quality by scanning, by reading. Example, reviewing a dataset to determine the types of field present, the amount of missing data, and the presence of any obvious errors. First, we have to detect the errors after we do the initial assessment. So we have to look for inaccuracy or incorrect value of the data, and this will be the beginning of the rope. Later on, you might discover that the same error exists in totally different, in different accounts, like customer accounts. Example, spotting incorrect date format, typographical errors, out of fringe values. Example, age of 120 years old. Identifying duplicates, definition, find and address duplicate record that create redundancy. One way to do it is to sort the data and try to find visually a duplicate rows. Or there's a nice function right now, even in Excel, to highlight any duplicate error automatically. Example, identifying multiple entries for the same customer with slightly different information. Also, we have to detect inconsistencies in the data, entries that don't match expected pattern or standard. One example is New York versus New York, or mismatched, or phone numbers that they have only five numbers, for example.